Hello, you wonderful scapers, and welcome back to another RuneScape weekly live stream. Today, unlike what our current title says, we're not doing another big fat quiz. That's a JD special. Sadly, Noel has moved on from Jagex. But today, we have managed to do something cool. We snuck into Ninja headquarters, virtually at least, to catch some of the ninjas before their next mission, as we celebrate a whole year of ninja-ness. I'm going to use lots of made-up words today. Before we dive in, we've got a cool, awesome cast today. A couple things. First up, we just wanted to let you know, some of you have been asking where Mod Perky has been. Mod Perky has decided to leave Jagex in the pursuit of some new adventures. During his 2 years as a community manager, Perky helped bring a ton of projects to life, like the Golden Gnomes from Home last year, which was super awesome. He helped support tons of our player communities, and of course he was a familiar face for all of us on our live streams, and we wish him all the best, and we'll keep the Stroop Waffle handouts going in honor of him, that's for sure. In the meantime, you've got myself and Kari. We're going to do our best to keep things covered as a duo. We are also recruiting for a replacement senior community manager to kind of bring the team back to strength. So if you are watching this by chance and you're an experienced CM who loves RuneScape, we'd love to hear from you. You can check out the jobs on the Jagex website. A couple other kind of house order things as we move on from some heavy news. Heads up that the Prime Gaming benefits are in full swing once again. We've got another drop coming in today. There's some sweet new Valentine's themed cosmetics, as well as some bonus currency drops with that. That should appear roughly during the stream or near the end of the stream. We'll give you a shout when that's gone live. And also, speaking of Valentine's, next Monday we're going to have a little Valentine's themed update, and this one is going to come in the shape of a permanent quest. We're not going to tell you anything more than that other than stay tuned for Monday, where we're going to have a brand new Valentine's themed quest that will be a permanent quest with quest points, the whole shebang. It's kind of the full picture of a quest, so stay tuned for that. But enough of that. Enough of all the little house order stuff. Let's get to the people we're here with. Let's get ninjaing. So please welcome our master ninjas. Mod Kalea.
Hello.
Mod K9.
Hello there.
And Mod KOC? KOC? We didn't discuss how you say
got
it. Which one? I said two.
Yeah, it's KOC, yeah. You got it right the first time.
KOC, okay. How are you doing, Ninja Team? Happy birthday. How's it all been going?
Oh, thanks. That's been going good, I think.
Yeah, I'm really excited to have you there. I can't believe it's been a year as well. It's crazy how fast time passes.
It is, and yeah, we've got so much done. It is just crazy that we've come so far in a year. It's good. It feels.
Yeah, we've got a little stats video coming up later that will kind of put that into a picture for everybody, and I think you'll be shocked at some of the numbers. Just before we go around the room and start kind of talking and diving into Ninja, what world can people join the party on? Oh, you've got it on the top left, World 16? Okay, I did read that from here, right? I have it really small on my screen. I promise I'm not blind, but yeah, World 16. So please do join us if you want to join us on stream as we party and celebrate a year of Ninja. And what more appropriate topic to talk about when we're looking back on a year of Ninja than the birth of Ninja? So honestly, how did Ninja come about? You've been around for a year publicly now. What was the initial setup? What were the challenges? How did you recruit the team? How did Ninja even come to pass?
Yeah, it was a bit funny. We're kind of having a look at shifting a lot of the teams from what they had been previously, and Mod Warden, that's his mod name, isn't it? Mod Warden. He was very keen. I just completely blanked. Was very keen to kind of set up another ninja team and get it going again, and to really build on the quality of life stuff. Because I think at the beginning of last year when we were setting up, there was a lot of quality of life issues that we didn't really have someone dedicated to look at, but there were plenty of them, and we could make tons of really strong impact by dedicating some resource to it. So we kind of proposed the team to Mod Warden, got signed off, and then kind of cherry picked our devs and our QA guys that we knew would be able to meet the ninja ethos, and we all got together as a small team for a couple of months, and then we got bigger as soon as we kind of seen with the first few strikes how successful the releases had been, and kind of grew on from there really. Yeah, I can't remember when Mod K9 when you joined us. Mod KZ, you were also not there at the very start, but joined us soon after, didn't you?
I think it was like Strike 4 or something. Yeah, like
Yeah.
relatively early. But...
I joined around the GE strike as that was just going out. That's I started just after that.
Yeah, I think that was Strike 6 or maybe 8.
Yeah, 7 was the first one I worked on for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I've started to discover a problem with naming our strikes after numbers, in that it's really hard to remember which ones are which. And like we're getting up to like planning 22 and 24 at the moment, and it's like I can't remember numbers, so I might have to revisit that. We'll see. Too many numbers to remember.
As well, as we've had 2 previous ninja teams, which work slightly differently. We tried to achieve different goals this time around, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we're putting themes to strikes first, and then filling around that theme, so that we've kind of got a central point of what we're going to tackle on our theme strike, and then we have more scattershot strike, which are all over the game, sprinkles of quality of life goodness, so that we can get both player requests and things that we get in, that have gotten from the dojo and from Reddit and social medias and all of that stuff, as well as really tackling kind of the deep-seated issues like what we did with the GE and Shattered Worlds.
Yeah, and I was going to ask about the dojo. So obviously, like very early in, the dojo was a part of Ninja. How do you work? I can't remember what the last number you gave me on the number of quests you had to get through, but I remember it was like, what, 3 years worth of work that got passed into the system? Like, how did you even work with that?
It was tricky. I'll tell you that much. I think it was me and Modkari sitting down, 2 to 3 times a week and getting through, and as many as we could within like an hour. And I think we got through like only about 300 or something in an hour, going through, seeing what we would be able to do, sending requests that we wouldn't be able to do onto other teams that they might be able to pick up later on, and kind of filtering through all of these ones that we wouldn't be able to do, and then adding them to the backlog, and from the backlog is where we kind of then organize it into strikes, and the backlog is just a massive mess, but it's got loads and loads of 3 years worth of stuff that we could potentially go through, but that's a long time. 3 years is a long time.
Out of interest, what was the craziest request, like the most unachievable, crazy out there request that made you kind of like turn your head and be like, what? Is there anything that comes to mind when I ask that?
God.
In terms of like weird, or in terms of like size?
Either.
Because we get like massive ones as well, which is like totally beyond what Ninja can achieve. It's like
skill reworks.
Skill rework, so yeah, that's a big one. just redo construction. Yeah, bit outside of our scope. I know that there were plenty of them. I can't like bring one to mind right now, which is really embarrassing. I should have come up with some.
I just wondered if there was. Yeah. I mean, not if you see the numbers though. I don't expect you to be able to remember specific ones en masse when you were dealing with thousands upon thousands of requests, which is cool. So like we talked a little bit about the dojo, and that you're different to other teams in Jagex. So like, what makes the way Ninja works different to other teams in Jagex, and how do you make decisions on what kind of strike themes to go for? Is there anything that like helps and hinders? Like, just give people at home an idea of like, what does Ninja day to day look like, and how does that kind of play out?
Yeah, I think, the planning is kind of different from the day-to-day. Planning is, when we pick strike themes kind of at the end of last year, or I say the end, it was probably around October, we kind of sat down as a team and went, what do we want to tackle? What would be good? I kind of had a load of ideas that had come from the dojo. And we sat down on a Miro board and went through all of the ideas, and then all of the guys added all of their ideas and what they'd like to tackle. And we had it on this big Miro board, and then we voted on them. And of course, there's way more than we can do in a year, so some of them have been deprioritized that we might do later on in the year. And so we kind of agreed as a group on the strike themes. And obviously, there's 12 strike themes for this year. They've been shuffled a little bit, I won't lie. Kind of a casualty of planning so far in advance is that it's never going to stick to that plan completely. But yeah, so we've done that, and then the kind of scattershot strikes are things that we just build kind of 8 weeks in advance, and we have a look at what's like really important to the players and what they're talking about a lot. And Mod Huli, you help us a lot with that. Of you and Modkari just kind of setting out what is really keen, what the players are really keen on us, maybe having a look at and what we can do with the time that we have allotted. I think we put about, is it like 4 weeks or so into each strike? So I think one of the things that makes us really different is that we work very, very quickly compared to the other teams. Don't know if Modkano, you want to go into any more of that?
Yeah, well, we tend to, as you say, we tend to work on like a 4-week kind of dev and QA cycle. The benefit being that we can obviously be a lot more flexible with that. So we're not kind of, it's not like we'd work on something for weeks, if not months, and then you've kind of got if issues occur, there's less room to change. At least the things we're working on, they tend to be a few days at a time. Again, as we mentioned earlier, the shame of that is there's only so many things you can get done in that 4-week cycle. So the scope of the tasks we work on tend to be on the smaller scale, but the benefit again of working in the cycle we do is we tend to put out a lot of little changes, but when you put them together again in the kind of theme strikes, it hopefully gives the player something nice and substantial to work with. And again, while you've got the other teams working on your kind of bigger, larger, maybe new content, I think it's patting ourselves on the back, but I think it's crucial to have like the Ninja team here to kind of be polishing up that content that's been around for up to 20 years, of course.
Yeah, I think we're very flexible and adaptable, and even in terms of like short-term planning as well. Like we might have stuff that we've planned and either we can't achieve all of it, so we have to pick and choose what's the most important stuff, or vice versa. It's just like, actually, we've got loads more time left. Maybe we'll grab this, and this, because this also fits into the strike. Or maybe it's something we've just spotted that somebody's mentioned. It's just, actually, this is really relevant to the thing we're about to be doing, so maybe we'll grab that. And that takes higher priority over something else. Yeah, we're really, really adaptable, I think.
Mm-hmm. And, like, team member-wise, are you all the most hardcore players in the world? Is it a mix? Like, what's the kind of team structure look like in terms of the kind of RuneScape players that are in your team?
Definitely
I think we are
a
like
mix.
a massive mix, really, right?
Yeah.
It's we've got a few who, again, it's in terms of like, say with myself, I played a lot of what would now be considered old school. But when I played it when I was younger, it was just RuneScape. So I had my experience there, and I had a bit of experience in between, jumping between different MMOs. And then obviously in the past year or so, I think I looked the other day, I've got 28 days playtime in the past 365 days, which again, people have got more than that. People have got less. But it's relatively like a lower level, but then I like my skilling. I've basically just been doing construction contracts for the past few months. But then we do have other players and other members of the team who not only may have played longer, but they might have more of a niche. So we've got some big kind of combat players, which obviously comes in handy for those combat theme strikes that we do. So yeah, it's definitely a wide array, which gives a nice, healthy amount of opinions, I like to think.
I think we have a good mix of experience as well. So you yourself are a junior content dev, so I think this is a good place for you to like learn lots of different things, lots of areas of the game, kind of back-end systems. Whereas I've been here like nearly 8 years, and I've touched like kind of a bit of everything, so I can give like opinions and advice on, oh, maybe we should do it this way, maybe we shouldn't do it that way. So like having both like complements each other, I think.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think we've also got a really good mix of skillers, combaters, and questers as well, which is really nice. I mean, questers, maybe in the ninja isn't as important, but like skillers and combaters and clue scrollers as well. It's really nice that we've got fingers in every pie. So no matter which like council or one of our skilling councils or combat councils that we have, there's someone in the team that is able to take what we want to do to that council and even give us kind of a quick view on anything that we want to do. I really love it. It's so
fight going on in my background. Sorry, I don't know if that came through on the mic, but that was an interesting thing to hear behind me. So also, of course, they do it in the stream. I was waiting for this to happen one week. At least it was on camera. One of the things as well is that that I want to talk about is you're talking about different experiences and having to work a lot of different kinds of content. When you're looking at that content, I don't know if people know this at home, but sometimes you're actually picking up either unfinished projects or things that kind of got started a little bit conceptually but never kind of saw the light of day or were finished. How is that to do to like pick up from basically where another dev left off? I think Tier 92 is an example of that, if I remember right.
Tier 92 is one of those examples. We've got something that we're working on currently for a Future Strike 2. It's great in terms of we can pick it up and get it out there. It's problematic in terms of like it's half devved or it's complete devved, but it's in an old build that hasn't been touched in ages. So you have to merge in like all of the updates that have happened since then. Then you have to check, has that broken anything? Do we need to fix anything? Do we like do it in isolation from all the other stuff we're doing in Ninja or separately? Like there are lots of problems, but it also means we can finally get it out, especially if it's something that's like highly requested or or such.
Yeah, I found because my example of that was working on the broadcast changes that went out this week, with displaying the kill counts and XP with pet broadcasts, and that was a large portion already dev complete by another team, but of course between that work and our team finishing it up, there'd obviously been the Ninja changes to how the broadcasts are filtered and things like that. Again, didn't cause any major issues with the development, thankfully, but again, it's just one of those things that can potentially throw a spanner in the works when we are working on things from other teams. But we tend to get through it. It just spices the work a bit up a bit more.
It's definitely not as easy as you might think. Like, I'm not a developer, so I don't actually know how it works or anything, but definitely the impression the guys have given me is that this isn't just a simple pick it up and put it out. It's there's a lot to think about, and preparation.
It's good to communicate with the people that originally did it too, because they might have had a totally different design intention from what you're assuming. So it could end up being like, oh, this looks massively complicated if we do it this way. Actually, this wasn't the intent. It's actually a lot easier, or vice versa. So trying to get that right balance is key there with communication too.
Yeah. Also, we're talking about obviously you building off other people's unfinished content. Lunar Spells was like Ninja delivering new goods on top of doing some kind of I guess spring cleaning of the Lunar Spellbook in general. What was that like? How did that even come about? Like, tell me about it.
Yeah, that was a fun one. I think we were very aware, at least I was very aware, that Lunar Spells really needed some polish, shall we say. It was an old spellbook, and Lunar Owl, fairly old content, and what we do in Ninja is when we look at a big piece of content, we tackle it, we play through it as a team. So we'll go in game together and we'll play through the content, and as we're playing, we'll kind of write down our notes on what is pretty bad, what could be improved, what is absolutely stellar, and we should definitely not touch. So we went through it as a team, and we came out with lots of notes. And I think there was just there was an opportunity there that we were looking at some spells that were just not that useful at all anymore, and so we decided that if we were going to remove them, which coincidentally we didn't actually get around to removing them, and it's still sitting on the backlog, but we decided that if we were going to remove some, it would be good to kind of refill the spell book, and there were some great things that we could add to it, and so we had a brainstorm session. I think I was away on holiday actually, and the ninjas, they all got together on Mirror again and brainstormed. It must have been like 60 different spells or something you guys came up with, and somehow you managed to whittle it down to I think 6, I want to say, and then we cut it down to 4 after that.
I think we got to the point of there being like loads and loads of ideas, and then we just as a group went, right, which ones of these are terrible and bad? We should throw those out immediately. And then it came to, right, all the good ones, like which ones that actually going to get used and like actually good. And then I think we whittled it down to like 6 or 7, and then we launched with 4, and then I think 3 went onto the reward backlog for future stuff for the other people to grab.
Yeah, we we handed some of the ideas that we came up with. We were like, these are good, but they're not really. They don't fit with the theme of the lunar spells. So we ended up coming up with so many ideas that we thought of new things that could be added in the future. So we essentially just handed off those other ideas to some other teams, going, hey, if you're needing ideas for maybe rewards and such in the future. So it was quite good. Like I say, almost overwhelming the amount of ideas we came up with, but at least it's kind of got notes for future things anyway.
Yeah,
Do we
then
want
we're
to
going to
talk
tackle
about
the rest of the lunar spellbook.
You want to talk about why we don't do lots of new content like that though? Like, as
Yeah, I think it'd be great to talk about.
Go for it.
So yeah, obviously it also takes a lot of time, and that means we're not doing like ninja fixes in the traditional sense. So I think a lot of the stuff that we wanted to do ended up on the backlog as a result. We also find that when we're touching like old code, we don't necessarily know how it's been written, how the standards have changed since. So often it takes a long time to dig around into stuff, and things often take longer than anticipated. So it does mean that sometimes we can't go around to everything we like. So I think as a result of making the new spells, which were really well received, we didn't necessarily get as much done as we would have liked to.
Yeah, they definitely ate up a lot of time that I don't think we were expecting them to. Which is why I literally have a strike in our backlog called Lunar Spells 2, which is just the rest of the stuff that we didn't get to that we'll get out at some point. So yeah.
Well, that's one of the limitations as well, isn't it? Right, like you said, you've got 20 years of content to be looking at and thinking about improvements to, and what you're delivering on 4-week schedules every 2 weeks roughly. So yeah, I can imagine that there's a balance to be struck there. And I actually want to ask a little bit of that, because you talked a little bit earlier about the idea of differences from the past, and that there was a kind of idea of, do we do a scattershot approach? Instead, we've gone down this like tailored strike approach, and I know that a lot of those kind of themes, especially a more recent one with player owned farms, have been things that have been building up over a long time. Why did you decide to go that route? Are you happy with how it's played out? And yeah, like what's the difference in approach kind of done for you?
I think it's nice to really concentrate on certain bits of content. I think it's really nice to be able to say, look at this piece, and there is, there's quite a lot that we can do with just this one, and just put a lot more time into it, rather than always doing scattershot, which is a couple of player suggestions here, a couple of things that we've seen here, and we all just kind of bundle it together into one release. I think being able to look holistically at this one piece of content like player and farms was really good. And I think player and farms actually started out as kind of more of a scattershot strike, where we were like, well, we could do these couple of things that players are really wanting, like the adding food to troughs or something. And then when we had a bigger look at it, I put it down as a scattershot strike and presented it to the team, and the team was like, this should just be a themed strike. So we canned that scattershot strike and moved it along a bit in the roadmap, and then had this big themed strike, which was genuinely pretty massive to get through and stuff. But it ended up being a really, really good strike. And somehow that's just how things grow, I think.
I think it's good for focus too. Sorry, you go. I think it's good for focus in terms of, like, we mentioned playtesting and stuff together, and just finding like extra stuff. It's just like, oh, this is also kind of bad, or like not as good as it might be, and we can pick this up alongside and like make the whole thing better, rather than just the things that we initially went in to go fix. So I think theme strikes kind of work out better in that sense. You
can definitely kind of bounce ideas and feedback off each other more. Say, at least from the dev side, when you're both, or the four of us that are on the team at the moment, when you're all kind of working on a similar kind of area of the code, you kind of either picking up on the same things, or you might miss something that someone else has found for you, and vice versa. And it just makes it a lot better. So say, like with the farming strike, if one of us is working on the favoriting in the interface, and one of us is working on how to add honeycomb, it works a lot better when you're both kind of in the same area, because you can go, oh, well, I'm doing this here, you could actually use something similar there. Whereas in a scattershot, you're more likely to not notice the similarities, because you're working in different areas, and you might end up with two very similar end results, but you've went about it different ways. So I think it helps making things more consistent as well, when you've kind of got this theme to work from. which overall kind of when you've got one nice, so when you've got that cohesion, I find that it just makes for kind of better quality of life, which is obviously our bread and butter.
Nice. Yeah, I think as an experienced player, RuneScape runs in a certain way, and I understand all of the menus well, most of them, and I understand things just by looking at them. Now that we've got like a lot of players coming in from Steam and things, and they're new players, and they don't understand our interfaces and menus as well. It's really good for us to have a look at how is this going to look for a new player, and how confused are they going to get. And when we do playthroughs and things, and look at things in theme strikes, it's really good for us to say, this just makes no sense for a new player. We need to make this easier for them to understand. So that is also another benefit of just improving general UX of the game.
Yeah,
I have to echo that.
Sure.
The amount of games that I play where I'm like, this UI is horrible. Like, and if I was in QA position in this company, I'd be complaining about this. And I know that while I'm playing RuneScape, I just hand wave so much of it because I just know how to get around it. So lots of different perspectives makes that way better for correcting stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Awesome. So one thing I want to do, chat, because we are celebrating a year of Ninja. Just before we get into some development stories and talk a little bit about all the Ninja strikes in this first year, well, not all of them, but cover the highlights. Chat, let me know and let everyone here know, what was your favourite strike out of the year? It doesn't have to be, you don't have to remember the overall theme, but is there a Ninja strike that stands out to you? Maybe we can use that as a place to start talking. But I know what my highlight is personally, but I'm going to let the chat come out. We've got GE, Tier 92. It's funny, this was all like around when I first joined as well. I think GE was the first week I joined, actually.
GE was a pretty good one.
Yeah, Clues, T92, GE. I remember at the time, the GE strike, we felt like there wasn't a whole lot of dialogue on it, but it's the one thing we constantly see. Like when you ask about Ninja, the GE strike is still like the hero champion of them all. It feels like, Clues, GE, Tier 92. Yeah, there's a lot of GE. So I think we got to talk about the GE strike first. Then definitely a highlight for me. Definitely top 3 for me for sure. No question about it. How did that come about? Do you have any stories about the GE strike that you want to share? Anything you want to talk about?
Oh, I can't remember its mod name. I'm really sorry. I can't remember its mod name, but mod somebody or other. I think he brought up the idea of looking at the Grand Exchange, because he kind of came and said, we can make this just so much faster. We just need this work from engine. Or I don't remember how he said we were going to do it, but he said that we could. And I was like, mind blown, that'll be so much better. And so we did, and I think the best thing about the Grand Exchange is that it was unexpected. Like, as part of kind of our Ninja ethos, we don't talk about our upcoming strikes, so that when players don't know that something is coming along, and then it's something that is so core to your gameplay, like the Grand Exchange, and it just becomes so much quicker and easier to use. I think that was why it was so special, because if we were using it in our playthroughs or in testing and things, and then going back to the main game and saying, I can't wait for this strike to come out. This is just so much better. And there's that kind of thing when you have that going on, that this is going to be a good one. We're going to love this one.
I have that every day. I'll just be playing RuneScape normally. It's just, oh my god, I don't have this thing. Really not. GE was one of them. Definitely. So. I think one of the other
edit function changed my life.
Yeah, I think one of the main things about GE Strike is that unless you're an Iron Man, it affects literally everybody, right? So because we made lots of small changes that made big differences, that's why it came across so successfully.
Yeah, I think because it's I think first thing it was Moderator, I believe, who had the
Moderator
for the G.
Thank you.
Yep. So I saw it in chat, to be honest. But I think as Mod Chaos, he said, because it wasn't necessarily the most. It's not like we made necessarily a big song and dance about GE, but because the changes can be clearly seen because of the traffic that goes through there compared to, say, some more of the what could be considered niche changes we make. I think that's probably why it's had more of an impact, because obviously it's been quite a few months now since we did those changes, but kind of seeing the responses from the players still now, because especially for returning players who are like, wow, this is so much better, and then more selfishly when I'm playing and I go myself, as much as I mentioned I had no part in that, I wasn't wasn't working for Jagex at that point, experiencing those changes and being able to go, good job us, that was good work. It's nice to kind of see that the changes have such an impact. It's not just people enjoy them for 5 minutes and then that's that done. They last hopefully a good amount of time.
Yeah, it's getting that stuff that is part of the core gameplay, I think, which is give us the biggest kind of smile on our faces when it's something that players will come up against every day, and we manage to change or improve that. That's when it's like nailed it.
Yeah, and it's a mix as well, isn't it? Right, like I know player suggestions play a huge part in what you do, but sometimes you're actually being kind of on your own kind of expertise and kind of finding these fixes that people may not even recommend, but when you do it, it's like, oh yeah, that's so obvious, that was amazing, right? There's a balance there, I'm sure, to be struck, right?
No, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
It's funny. I'm watching this YouTube series right now, and there was this one episode recently. It was just like, here's this engineering thing. Here's explaining how it works. And it's just like, if you gave me this problem, I never would have worked out that solution. I've done something super, super complicated. But because someone said it, it's the most obvious thing ever. Like, I think I'm seeing a lot of parallels there in terms of like ninja work too.
Yeah,
that's really interesting.
I found with clue scrolls. That was one I think a little message was put out as a tease just before. And I know obviously some players were quite concerned, going, "Don't change our clue scrolls. What are you doing now?"
They really were.
Of course, some of those changes were obviously based on kind of what we'd seen from players, but some were kind of just our own ideas from playing the game and from speaking to other colleagues and such. And of course, that seemed to go down brilliantly. There's quite a big strike, and everything seemed to go down well. So, like I say, it is nice when the players have that initial almost like concern, but obviously 9 times out of 10 it is almost like a surprise what we do. So it's obviously nice when that surprise is a good one for them. Like I say, it is that sometimes that some of the changes we do didn't realise how much I wanted this until we now have it.
Yeah.
It's I find it really interesting. Sorry, go on.
Go. We're working with lag, everybody. As you know,
I just find it really
this will occasionally happen. KFC.
I find it really interesting that some changes seem to get loads and loads of traction that we didn't expect. So I think this week the example is Godbird's going to interface. Like loads and loads of people popped off about it, and I was like, oh man, this seems to be a lot of effort dev side, and I'm not sure how worthwhile it is. Like I'm not sure how many people I've seen running around with these pets very often, but there was so much positive response off of it. I was like, so it sometimes just surprises you, like what the changes that you made.
Guy who had 20, apart from the guy who had 20 Zamorak.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's in the chat for that's for sure.
Yeah.
All birds. Yeah. So I just want to quickly go around the room just before we get onto. We got this cool little video prepared that I think everyone will be pretty into that we can discuss. Just go around the room just to ask what your favourite strike is, whether it's one you're proudest of or you just love what we did. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Just keen to see what everyone says. So Kalea, let's go to you first. What's your favourite strike of the year?
I think I can't remember which number it is. The numbers problem again, but the one where we did the Grace of the Elves changes, Grace of the Elf necklace changes. That was a really, really good one where because everyone was doing archaeology at the time and everyone was using Grace of the Elves because it was the best thing to use to train, and we just made it like so much quicker to put like porter charges on the Grace. It was a good one. I think that was probably our most highly upvoted strike that we had. It's very popular. Yeah, good feels for that one. And again, something that players had sort of been asking for, but I guess didn't really expect us to do, and then we went out and just nailed it. So that's always a good feeling.
Cool. KOC?
I think for me it's tier 92 because I have a vested interest in combat, being on the combat council. I worked on the team that did Elite Dungeon 1 and 2 where we introduced the tier 92 armors originally, and kind of worked a little bit on the original implementation before we got it in. So it was really frustrating watching it not moving, and then actually being able to say, "Oh, cool, we're working on this. I can finish this. It's kind of like unfinished business for me. We can get it out there," and it also had a big impact as well. So, yeah, I think that's the one for me.
Cool. And then finally, K9.
As I say, I was very happy with Clue Scrolls. It was a fun one to work on, and I think that everything that went out was really good. But I'd probably say my favourite might be the double XP strike. I just feel like, especially having the pause timer, as well as some of the Protean and the other pack changes, making them stackable, having one combat dummy and stuff like that, just makes, again, life a lot easier. That quality of life. So especially me using that quite a lot, playing myself. That was all. Was quite happy with that one as well.
Yeah, I'd actually probably say the same. In terms of the one that's probably impacted my playtime the most, it lets me get so much more out of that DXP week, which I need as a 400 total leveler. I've still got plenty of room to grow, so it's actually helped me a lot.
I'm gonna say a second one as well, as my kind of joint favourite, because so this is the player advocacy group strike, which was strike number 8. I found out, and I think for me, just because I was working with the PAG group, and we were kind of working with them to come up with what their highest priority ones, and the PAG strike was the one which was like taking kind of a couple things from each of the categories that they gave us and managing to get that out, and that was where we tackled like the adrenaline and the power burst potions and stuff. So there's some really good releases that came out there. Maybe that was one of your first strikes, was it, Mod K9? I just remembered you were working on the power burst stuff, weren't you?
Yeah, I think it was. The power burst changes was the second thing I worked on. So if anything went wrong, now you know why. But no, that was good stuff. Because again, that's actually real quick an example of when we're getting things from other teams, because I think we made a change to the power burst version of the potion, and then after kind of showing it to the other dev teams, they were like, "Oh well, actually, we were thinking that it's not really a power burst anymore, so it should be changed to an adrenaline potion." So then that's kind of something that I say tacked on, for lack of a better term, that got added as an addition to the job we were working on, which again added a bit more work, but what we ended up putting out from it was really cool. Again, if I say so myself, patting myself on the back.
Good job, Mark K9.
Cool. Okay, we got this cool video prepped and ready. Let's roll it. Production team, hopefully you're ready. I know they're having a bunch of fun partying with all of you. So this has got no audio, so we'll do our best to talk over it, or we'll let it run and then we'll go back through it. How about that? So here's some key stats from the first year of Ninja.
Woohoo!
Those numbers are too big. 12,000 submissions. There we go. That's the number we were looking for earlier.
Oh yeah.
We really should have kept the music on this production. It's slightly awkward without the music. I have like a need to feel silence, so my kind of mentality is like filling. Cool. So that's we just went through that. Hopefully we're gonna be able to pause it. Can we go back to the top and just pause on some of the key stats?
Yeah, it's tough to catch on
one here. Yeah. So for those who don't know, because I've seen some people asking like, how do I submit to Ninja Strikes? What is a dojo? I've seen this in chat actually through this quite often, so I think we got quite a few new folks joining us. Hi, if you're new. Do you want to run us through what is the dojo and what does it mean for it to have been open for all that time?
Yeah, so the dojo was the place for anyone with an idea or a problem in games to come and submit to us ninjas something that they'd like improved. So specifically we were looking for like, what do you do on a daily basis that is like too slow or just needs a bit of improvement or want us to take a look at, and so you could come and give us like a quick mission of what you'd like us to take a look at, and the dojo is the place for you to come and submit that to us, and it was hugely beneficial.
Cool. So if we want to jump to the next one, so it's still all about the dojo. Yeah, so there we go. I mean, this is huge number of unique visitors were looking to send individual pieces of feedback. Did you expect this many people to jump in? It is the RuneScape community, but did you expect it to be that big?
No, definitely not. It got very big very quickly. You know, the first time I've seen these numbers, so 26,000 times. Like, that's crazy. That's a crazy amount of people. But yeah, that was really, really cool.
If we go to the next one, I think this will kind of tell a story because I've had some people seeing this in chat. So yeah, we received 12,073 submissions, of which that averages about 75 a day. So why did we close the dojo? This is pretty much the story of why we did close the dojo temporarily, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Just couldn't keep up. There were so many ideas and so many suggestions, and a lot of them were kind of duplicates, and in some ways duplicates really helped us because it meant that if 100 people are submitting 100 of the same idea, it kind of says, maybe we should take a look at this. It's kind of the voice of the one telling us what's going on. But there was a lot of time for me and Modkari going through each of the submissions before we could even filter it to the ninjas to take a look at. And like I said, 3 years worth of dev work from 159 days of the dojo being open. Like that's a huge amount that we will just never be able to keep on top of, which is why we had to close it temporarily so we can catch up a bit.
Yeah, and I think there's no better time. So we keep saying the word temporarily. Does that mean the dojo's returning?
I absolutely want to bring it back. I absolutely want to bring it back, and I think Modkari is working on how we can bring it back soon, very soon.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say, Akari, especially obviously with the team being a bit smaller right now, working really hard. We're looking hopefully within a few months. So I'm going to say is the hopeful. Obviously, bear in mind we are running as a smaller team, so if it does go back a bit, we do apologise. But Kari's been doing an amazing job on that, and hopefully we'll have the dojo reopen sooner rather than later. So just know we're thinking months, not half a year or beyond. So. Just to set some expectations. I know a lot of people are keen to do it. It's the cool part of Ninja, surely, is that the players have a voice in it and shape it. And I assume you're just to ask a little bit about the dojo and how your team uses it. The new feedback suggestions will kind of go into the mix with the existing ones to kind of inform a little bit of priority, right? It's not going to just be put to the back of the queue behind the 3 years of potential suggestions you've already got lined up, right?
No, I think the nice thing about opening the dojo again will be that we can have kind of a review of what is most important. So if there are suggestions that are coming in again, it's like that bumps it up the priority because it's obviously still a problem that players are having to deal with. So that'll be the best thing about bringing it back is I can have a look at what is really annoying you today, and we can have a look at that kind of stuff.
Cool. If we go on to the next stat, we'll let it go through this. We've already talked about that.
It's a lot.
Yeah, so 373 in one day was the record. Someone asked who submitted the most individually. I don't have that to hand. Kari may have it, but not something I have right here, unfortunately.
I think I remember that day as well, the day we got 373. It was right after a strike. I think it was after the Grace of the Elves strike. Like, we released that, and we just got so many suggestions coming in. It was crazy on that one day.
Maybe it's inspiration. People feeling inspired by what Ninja can do, maybe.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, do you want to roll on to the next one? Yeah, so item. So what would an item request look like? This goes out to all of you. Like, what generally is a item request gonna come in the form of?
So the categories picked by players, and so items can be kind of anything to do with like an item. It can be like changing the drop rate or anything like that. Like
Yeah, we might get stuff like, oh, can you make this new thing that I just thought of, or can you tweak the functionality on this one thing? Like, oh, these teleports are in the wrong order or something like that. So it's fairly wide in terms of its category, I think.
Yeah, or give this more teleports or less teleports.
It's almost similar to the slide before, where something that does happen is if we make changes to a certain object or a certain item in the game, like say changing the teleports, buffing it up and like that, or maybe even like updating an interface somewhere, that probably will be shortly after similar requests going, oh, you can do that. Could you do it on this and this, please? Which again, all great ideas, and hopefully they're things that we've already got in the back of our minds.
Cool. Do you want to go on to the next stat? So this is the big one for me, I think. So some people, I've actually seen a couple of people asking what a strike is in chat. If you don't know what a strike is, it's essentially an update that the ninjas put together that's kind of focused around a theme usually, and it will bring in a bunch of changes or quality of life fixes under kind of one banner. So for example, player-owned farm, there's a bunch of player-owned farm fixes, improvements, tweaks, etc. So a strike is like is the release of ninjas' efforts around a theme. I think that's fair to say. Tell me if I described that badly, but you would hope as the person who communicates I would describe that well. But yeah, so let's talk about 516 patch notes went out for Ninja Strikes. I mean, that's pretty humongous. Does it feel like 516 patch notes over the course of a year?
I don't think so. Like, that blew me away when I saw that number. I knew it would be a lot, and I was kind of like, this might blow me away, whatever number this is. But when I saw it, it's like, jeez, like, that's a lot. Feels good. Feels good.
I
think
the figure that's getting me is the 30 per strike. That it feels more than it is, but I guess we are like doing that much work. So I think because we work on lots of things individually, it kind of adds up like on top of each other. So each thing seems small, but it makes a big pile.
I'd say I'm pretty sure that Mod Breezy helps put a lot of the patch notes together.
Yeah, he does.
Before sending them along. So yeah, I was about to say he almost definitely feels like it's definitely been 516 patch notes.
Yeah, this is a great number. Super proud of the Ninja team for this because like they're all awesome and they're all doing this kind of stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. I don't know if we have any more stats than this. Do we have another one? No, we just have a thank you.
Yeah. Just a big.
So that's a year in Ninja. Yeah, and that's a year in Ninja. Which leads us on to where we got to at the end of the year. We're here, so we're partying. We've got people in chat. Thank you, by the way, for hanging out and listening to us chat about a year of Ninja. Now, if you haven't already experienced it, let's be careful of spoilers here because I haven't had a chance to go play it yet either, and I'm sure people in chat have too. You released a mini quest to celebrate your year anniversary. Please explain.
It was so much fun coming up with a mini quest. We kind of all just sat down for a brainstorm and as kind of the lead, I really wanted to do. Yeah, I just wanted to do something that would really celebrate how far we've come and what we've done together as a team, and just feel good ninja stuff. Like, we've done awesome, and just celebrate our first year, make an event of it, make it a special thing.
Yeah, for sure. That brainstorm, I think the original idea was to try and like make a reference to like all of our ninja strikes, and we were like, oh, but then in like 4 years time, like this is going to be really dated and weird. So we kind of tried to pick like some ideas and like trying to make a decent narrative out of it. I think a lot of in fact, almost entirely the dialogue credits goes to Mod Abe, who did a lot of the dev work. Like, that quest is really funny, and yeah, he's already had a lot of praise internally, but he definitely deserves it. So
yeah, it definitely does. Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought it was so left field, and I think the community did as well. And I love the Ninja Turtles theme. So this is like from scratch generated by Ninja, right? Just so we're clear, this is like a Ninja delivered mini quest, right?
Yeah, entirely.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. Yeah.
That was one of the things that did stick around from that idea of like, oh, we can touch on like existing strikes. So like, oh, we did lunar spells, we did trap telekinesis as a new spell. Maybe we can tie the premise into that, which you see like relatively early into the quest. Again, avoiding spoilers, I guess. And it just kind of like built out from there. We had so much fun in that brainstorm. Like, we were just laughing.
We did. Yeah, we really did. It was just before Christmas, and we were all just having tons of fun with what these turtles were going to be getting up to.
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily going to be a quest. I think we were just looking for something we could do kind of in game, and then, like I say, the ideas we kind of came up with looking around, trying to find suitable areas, and then obviously we found the sewer area where the quest starts. I won't go any further as for spoilers. But yeah, like I said, I think every concept, I can't say I think it's ever been done before. Everything is completely unique in any way. There's no reference to anything at all. It's all unique and original ideas from the Ninja team. But no, I think it was really good stuff. I think they spent a good portion of an afternoon with the design. I think we kind of went on to whole side narratives and different characters and essentially making a whole new game. So we did have to kind of scale it back down to a singular mini quest. But yeah, it was definitely some good fun. And like I say, a lot of that went into the writing because, as has been said, the writing in that is really good, really brilliant.
I think we had one of the rewards already like concepted, right? So that kind of fed into it too.
Yeah. I wanted to do that. I wanted to release the cosmetic. I think like kind of mid last year, and it wasn't happening. And then so finally came up to the anniversary, like perfect time to release it. And yeah.
Perfect. All right, Ninja team. Just looking at the time. Thank you very much for joining us. I think it's safe to say we all really appreciate what you do and all the kind of joy you bring to a lot of the older content in the game, especially. I personally can't wait to see what you do in the year ahead. Is there anything you want to say to everyone watching at home before we sign off?
There's more where that came from.
Yeah. Get your ideas ready for the dojo. You've got a bit of time to formulate them, and then get them as straight and easy to follow as possible, I guess. I guess like the more you can refine it, the easier it will be for us to deal with it in that way. I don't know. Anyway, send them to us regardless, because if it's something that's annoying you, we can fix it and make it better.
Yeah, just bear in mind. We spent about 4 weeks or something working on strikes, and there are multiple things in that strike, so we're not going to be able to take on big projects. But if you tell us exactly what your issue is, even if that's part of a bigger project, we could have a look at what we can do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think all the feedback's appreciated, and like I say, a lot of the time, players can give us like different but similar ideas that we can usually tailor into something that hopefully makes everyone happy. But all the feedback's appreciated, and like's been said, I think it's going to be hopefully a good year coming up.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much again, Ninjas. I hope you all celebrated properly between your team for your first year anniversary. For all of you watching, thanks for joining us. If you're out there waiting for those latest Prime Gaming goodies, I've got confirmation the drop is now available, so you can go grab those in the usual Prime Gaming area, rewards area, under the RuneScape category. And that's it for us this week. Well, I say that on stream at least. Keep your eyes peeled, Scapers. There's a couple more surprises to come later this week. Not going to go any further than that. I'll leave it there. Goodbye. Good night. See you soon.
All right.
Bye now.